The U.S. President Donald Trump backed down on a pledge to double tariffs on steel and aluminum from Canada to 50%, just hours after announcing the higher tariffs. Now, this after Ontario Premier Doug suspended a new surcharge on Canadian electricity. It was a day of back and forth between U.S. and Canada. Doug had threatened he would place a 25% surcharge on the electricity Canada supplies to more than 1 million U.S. homes unless Trump dropped all his tariff threats against Canada's export into the U.S. But faced with Trump's 50% tariff threat, Ford agreed to suspend the surcharge and met with U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick in Washington on Thursday. Now, this comes after a phone call with Lutnick, which he described as very productive.
Rather than waiting till April the 2nd, threats going back and forth, tit for tat, I've agreed to suspend temporarily, and we always have that tool in our toolkit, until we sit down over the next day or two. I'll be heading down to Washington along with Dominic LeBlanc, and we'll have a good discussion.
Meanwhile, the White House announced that only the previously planned 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum products from the U.S. northern neighbor and all other countries would take effect on Wednesday with no exemptions or exceptions. The back and forth between the U.S. and Canada further unsettled financial markets already battered by Trump's focus on tariffs. The Dow index of blue chip stocks closed down 1.1%, while the broad-based S&P 500 shed 0.8%. The tech-heavy Nasdaq dripped 0.2%. And for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tahani sent us this report from New York. Listen in.
How fast did Ontario's Doug Ford backtrack? Well, after announcing a 25% electricity surplus on U.S. exports for U.S. states, Ford now suspended that plan following a discussion with U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Both sides are expected to meet in Washington, D.C. to discuss the USMCA before President Donald Trump's tariff deadline. Meanwhile, Canada's incoming Prime Minister is keeping his word and standing by his word, saying that the tariffs will be in place on the United States unless Washington recommits to quote-unquote free trade. So the tensions are high. Experts say that a quick resolution to all of this is very unlikely. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.